We will read today from chapter 2 of the Gospel of Luke, verses 35 to 40. It is a scene immediately after the presentation of Jesus in the temple. The presentation of Jesus is a scene which tells us that the mother and foster father of Jesus would obey God's law. God's law was that because the child was a gift from God, one had to acknowledge that gift, and bringing the child to the temple was an acknowledgement that God had indeed graced the mother and the father. And so Jesus is brought to the temple. As soon as he is brought and presented to God, Simeon comes and sings his Nunc Dimittis, which means that the Lord can now let Simeon go because he has set his eyes on God's salvation. Following the scene is the scene that we will read about today, is the prayer of Anna, who was a prophetess. She was a woman who came into the temple at the moment that the child was being given up, the child was being presented, and she speaks about the deliverance which this child would bring about. Anna, because she was open and close to God, because she spent her time in this awareness of God's presence, was able to recognize in the child the Messiah whom the child would be. And Anna was aware that people were waiting for the Messiah to redeem them. It was this Messiah who would show them a new way of life, who would show them a new way of living that Anna spoke about. She was able to recognize in Jesus all that he would do and all that he would accomplish as God's only Son. When Jesus began his ministry, it was a revolutionary ministry, as Anna had already predicted. And this ministry was a ministry which turned the world of people upside down, because it was a ministry which said that love takes precedence over law, that rules and regulations had to be followed only in as much as they led to love, that the 10 commandments which were given by Moses was summarized in one commandment, which meant love of God by loving neighbor. Anna was able to see this in the child Jesus and prophesied about it. The child lived exactly as she had prophesied. Will you, as a disciple of Jesus, live out his message of love today? How?